IPMNation.com.
Live from the Outpost Studios in Columbus, Ohio, you're listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy. Brought to you by IPMNation.com. Get ready for the gong heard round the world.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All Natural Being. Warning, All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy is designed to shake your sense of self to the core.
It's full contact psychology with an empowering twist, a philosophical loofah for your soul.
For those of you not ready or comfortable releasing your inner superhuman, listener discretion is advised.
Here's your host,
Brian Brawdy.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you so very much. I've been spending the day running around trying to figure out. It's really been quite a learning curve for the audio. So I'm hoping this evening that we have it dialed in. Thank you, as always, for putting up with me as I try all these little experiments, see what we can get to work out. And thank you for joining me at the number one rated show here on IPMNation.com, episode 287 of the Gong Heard Round the World. You're in to All Natural Being, broadcast as it happens here on IPMNation.com, as I say, and now multicast live on Facebook, YouTube, over on AllNaturalBeing.com, and on the new Brian Brawdy app as well that you can pick up over at BrianBrawdy.com. But it's always live from the Outpost, the Mortal Up Studios here in Columbus, Ohio, with rebroadcasts on iTunes and iHeartRadio, or rebroadcasts if I knew how to speak properly. Greetings wherever you are here in the Garden of the Mortals, as I like to say hello from the truest parts of your mind. I'm thrilled to be with you because technically life, this is your labyrinth, your shot at running the table. And that's why we're always putting your heart's highest priority top of the list, placing your primal scream front and center in your life, reinstalling and reinstating the true wit and wisdom of your inner whisper, because that's what we believe it's all about. The rebooting of your robust, the finding your ferocious, all in time to outbrutal the brutal that is the cut and shuffle that fate can deal you on a daily basis, and to bring your own bold once and for all. But before we hit it this evening, hello to my friends here in the United States, Canada, Mexico, the UK, my good friends in Ecuador, China, the Philippines, Brazil, India, Australia, Germany, Italy, France, Nigeria, Turkey, Japan, Singapore, Thailand, Belgium, Sweden, Israel, South Africa, Egypt, Puerto Rico, Kenya, the Netherlands, Colombia, Greece, Ireland, Peru, Poland. To those joining us from all over the globe, it really is great to have you here with us. I truly am fired up to be driving your bandwagon, to be your virtual hitchhiker if you're on the go. I love that. To be your biggest fan, to be avidly you. But before we jump into tonight's show, let me ask you, why let anyone, and I mean anyone, hijack your cognition? Why let anyone play you like a sock puppet? The days of needlessly torturing yourself by being someone else's tool, well, they're over as long as you decide that today is the day. It's time to take life into your own hands. What are you and I waiting for? Here's our opportunity to mortal up. So what do you say? Let's go kick in some doors. And again, I want to thank everybody who've been working on some of these new boards and some of the new sound equipment. So I want a very special thanks to Wayne Noel, a very special thanks to Henry Noel. That's just, we've been doing all the testing and all the practicing and everything else to see how we can hone this signal in just perfectly. So thank you to both of you all for all the help you've been giving me. And let's jump in the feed, say hello to some people real quick. Shane, thank you for watching. Good evening to you as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Wayne, good evening. I was just talking about you. Nice to see you, sir. Rita, thank you so much for joining us here at All Natural Being. As Rita says over in the feed, hello to everyone. Lisa, thank you so very much for joining us here at All Natural Being. Also, David Ray Bowman. Thank you, David. You know, I was thinking about you earlier today, David. This whole EQ thing, I'm busy reading books on how to do this and how to do that. And I thought this whole DBX 286 thing was because a good friend of yours, I would say a good friend of ours, but I don't know him nearly as well as you do. He happened to hear the show one time and he goes, DBX 286S. That's all I'm saying. So I took from that, you know what? I'm probably going to need some help in terms of this audio. So I'm still working on testing it all, on putting it all together. So David, thank you very much for the introduction. And please tell him that I said howdy and I'm doing my best to learn it. And I know you're going to go, Bri, this is crazy. You were turned down by a church broadcasting station, right? That your whole attempt at 81 to win, your whole 24 hours coming up now in just a couple, 3 weeks, I guess. All of this stuff. Steve's the best. He really is. And if you would, David, would you let him know that I took his advice to heart. I'm still learning how to use all this stuff, but will you please let him know that I'm giving it my best shot. So here's my thought, right? You know, the 81 to win, the end of this month, we're going to be doing, and I would love, I put a call out today on Facebook. I would love to get people, we're going to go Sunday morning at 10 a.m. to Monday morning, Labor Day at 10 a.m. And I figure I'll do the opening hour and the closing hour by my, just an opening and closing hour. But what we would do is, in that time frame, that 22 hours in the middle, every 30 minutes, I'll have a different guest call into the studios. So what I'm going to start doing here, probably as early as tomorrow, is having like a sign-up sheet. So if you want to instant message me or tweet me or send me an email, if you have my email address, and let me know if that's something you'd be into doing, and I can reserve a time slot just for you, because I'd like the concept. We get 22 hours. I'd like to get 44 people, someone to call in every 30 minutes, keep me honest in this 24-hour event. But as you know, I started this whole thing because a local Christian radio station couldn't be bothered returning my email. And I basically had volunteered to go in and volunteer, right? I was going to be a janitor. I was going to be a groundskeeper, security guard. I'd go and raise the flag every morning if they wanted. I didn't even want paid. All I wanted was someone to teach me how to use the board. And, right, no bother. They couldn't be bothered. Like, again, as I've said, kumbaya for everybody else but me, right? So they couldn't even be bothered to teach me how to use the board. But then today, it dawned on me. And I was like, you know what? The brain tumor didn't get the best parts. How about this? I'll go over and find someone that like works at one of these church services, where everyone's playing the guitar and the drums and there's 3 or 4 preachers and everyone's talking and singing and cavorting around on stage, right? So what I would do is I'll find one of these people that knows how to work a board and then say, hey, could I have you come for the hour and just dial all this in, right, David Ray? So just in case, if I could find someone, that half of Steve's brilliance that could come in and go, oh yeah, you got to do this, you got to do that, you move this here, move that there, slide this, slide that. I'm thinking, there you go. That's what I'll do. So sometime between now and next Sunday morning, I'll find a church that has one of these services that, has these full-on production value, these Sunday morning rock and roll shows. And I'll find someone that will give me the time of day, one, and then say, yeah, we'll come. Maybe I can I'll think of something. Take them lunch, wash their car, cut their grass, make a donation, to think of something. But how great would that be to have someone that actually knows what they're doing, right? Cherish the thought. Right, that actually knows what they're doing, to come in and go, Bri, do you know that this was supposed to be here and this button was supposed to be over there and all those other things? So that's what we'll be doing this week. We went ahead, just to catch you up, as you may know, we went ahead and revamped the studio in an attempt to make our world record push. 81 to win is the hashtag, in case you're interested, later this December. So we went ahead and got a bunch of equipment. And of course, it's taken some, a little bit of technical know-how that is above my pay grade to figure it all out. But we're going to be working on this. I'm so excited about tomorrow being Monday because everyone's back in work. So I can start calling the people from Personas, calling the people from Wirecast, calling the people from Sweetwater, calling the people from JK Audio and go, look, I got all the gear. Now you just got to kind of give me a little bit bit of a of a training course here, a little bit of a runway to kind of ramp this all up. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. It'll be a pretty excited day. Oh, also, I don't want to forget to tell you about squeegee.tv. This is the week we reach out to Katzenberg and say, we've got an idea of some programming that we might be able to offer in the new 10-minute slots. And I kind of thought of us as a philosophical Uber, right? If you need, instead of needing a ride, you need a rise, you need a lift, literally a lift. Instead of a lift, you need a lift. Then you just log on to Squeegee TV, give us 10 minutes, and we'll get you ready to head out onto the field or head into the boardroom or head into whatever interaction you may have coming up, and we'll give you a shot there. All right, let me see. What do we got here? Caller number 1. Good evening. You're in All Natural Being. Who's this?
This is Henry, Brian, just checking in on you.
Hey, Henry, how are you, sir?
All right, I'm doing fine.
Just as the time you call in, Janile comes in and says, good evening, everyone. And Janile, good evening to you as well. Henry, how are you, sir? You're sounding great as always.
Oh, finally doing well, yes.
Good. I know you had a huge day yesterday. You had I can call it a speech, right? You had a little, a get-together with a bunch of people and had a chance to hang out with them for a while. So I imagine it was a very taxing day yesterday by the end of the day.
Yes, it was. It's very interesting to find out what you can actually get yourself into when you actually admit to meet up with a bunch of people, and it was fun. It really was. It was a good group of people, some 20 of us, and it was a good time. So I had about an hour and a half to really put some stuff out there, and I got about halfway through it with all the questions and the answers,
Sure.
and I just loved it. To me, it was the most fabulous experience that one can have.
Fantastic. Now, are you going to be keeping copies of the video or of the audio? Excuse me. Will you be putting it up on Facebook or up on, I know we're starting on your YouTube page here before too long. Is that something you're going to be posting so that people that weren't able to travel to see you will be able to watch any portion of it?
I'm hoping to.
Groovy.
We'll see how it gets put together here. I'd like to try to get it done. I mean, there's some editing to have to be done, but outside of that,
Sure.
yes, I would love to do that. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to edit me out. It's
Yeah, believe me, brother, when you stand here staring at these boards all day long, you go, what did I get into? Can you turn up the volume for Henry a little bit? Why, yes, I can. Let me see how that is. All right, Henry.
all right.
There.
See if that's working any better. Yeah, I'm pegging out in the red here, so I'm trying to keep it under control.
Okay, well, let me see. Is that Wayne, thank you so very much. See, that's what I love about Wayne. He's like an executive producer from off-site. You know what I mean? He'll be like, hey, Brian, can you stand up straight? Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, he loves to, let him stick his nose wherever he wants to. He loves it. And
He's a smart guy.
Fun.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. I also want to say hello to Laura. Laura, thank you so very much for joining us on All Natural Being. And Wayne, this is great. Will you let me know if Henry's much better, Rita says. Well, thank you, Rita. I like to take Henry full volume if I can get it. So there we go. Very cool.
Bombs away.
Shane is saying better too. See, this is what's so nice. This is why I hold out hope, Henry, for the 24-hour one at the end of this month and the 81 to win. Is I got all kinds of cool people that'll call in and go, now I'm getting a thumbs up from Wayne. So that's great. See? And all I'm asking is throughout this 24-hour little shindig, for people to call in and keep me honest and keep me going. And we're gonna get a little clock down here, Henry, that counts. I can't decide whether we should count down from 24 to 1 or count up. Henry, what do you think? From 1 to 24 for the first record. We'll be doing that this week coming up. What kind of clock? An up clock or a down clock, do you think?
Everybody does the down clock. I love the up clock.
The up clock, okay.
I always believed we should have been born at 120 and work our way down to retirement when we're like 10 so we can enjoy it.
Okay, but for this clock, you want to go the other way. You think, what we should do is make it an up. So we'll start out with minute 1, and the clock will reference how far we're getting towards the 24 hours when we do the attempt. Love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, very cool. I'm just tickled as pink that we are able to adjust your volume on the fly here. This is great. Now Shane says turn you down. See?
Yeah.
Look at all these people.
No, I think he wants the down clock. I'm not
he wants
sure.
the
He wants the down clock.
I tell you all the time I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Oh, so down, he means the down clock. Okay. Oh, so you know what we have to do, Henry? You want the up clock.
We put it 2 o'clock.
We put 2 clocks.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the yin-yang. One will be stacked on top of the other. One will count. You laugh, but I'm going to do it. One will count down and one will count up. But we got to think of something special, right? Right when they both cross the 12-hour barrier. Right? We got to think of something special to do. Yeah, I don't know what it'll be, but we'll have to think of something. So Shane, thank you very much. The down clock, that's what it'll be. So Henry, what do you think about my idea? Even though I got turned down by a radio station, that broadcasts church services, I'm going to go right to the source, and I'm going to find. Thank you, Rita. I thought so too. I'm going to find one of these soundboard operators that works on a Sunday morning, and go, hey, can I take you to lunch and get your car washed? I need 5. Wait, these guys and girls are so smart that they could stand here, Henry, for 2 minutes. What's taken me 8 hours today to try to figure out, they'll know like that, I'll bet you. So I'm going to go and I'm going to find a local church, and I'm going to find a local soundboard operator, and I'm going to make it work.
Well, it's probably far more constructive than putting a bag of cow pods in front of their door. So I think that
I do enjoy that, though.
Smarter idea.
I do enjoy that, Henry. That's the only way I get an aerobic, right? When I ring the doorbell and sprint, it's the only way I get my running workout in anymore. So
I love it.
Look, if we're both going to choke and cough, what kind of show is this going to be? Okay, so Henry, Laura says she likes using both clocks. So we'll have to figure that out. One that counts down, one that counts up. And right at the 12-hour mark, halfway point, we'll think of something cool to do. Shane says confetti from your kids at the halfway point. Oh. Whoa, you know what? That's a great idea, Shane. And they might still be up, right? Because halfway point, if it's 10 o'clock in the morning when we start, halfway point will be 10 o'clock at night. And it's a holiday. Maybe they can stay up. The gong. That's a great idea. Hold on. Laura, you know what? Laura says the gong. What a great idea. So we'll hit the gong. And then, but you know what else too? Is maybe we'll hit the gong at the top of every hour. Because, Laura, I'll share this with you. Henry and I were kicking it around with Wayne the other day and with Rita. Facebook, and, whenever I decide to slam Facebook, I use the nickname Mug Pamphlet in case they're listening in. You know what I mean? And Rita says she'll pay for the cleanup. You could probably do it in like cookies, Rita. You get the boys cookies. Jen, good evening. Thank you for watching All Natural Being. Jenny, thank you for hanging out with us. Flash mob. I like it. We could do Ode to Joy. But I think that's copyrighted, and I don't think I'm allowed to broadcast that. I'll have to ask Matt if that's okay. But an Ode to Joy flash mob, how cool would that be?
Oh, that would be fun.
So what we were kicking around is that here at Mug Pamphlet, they will broadcast you when you go live. But they only do it once. So if you go live for 12 hours, they only broadcast you once. So what I thought we would do in our attempt, Henry, is that every hour for 2 minutes, we'll go to a pseudo commercial break and we'll rebroadcast. So over on Facebook, you'll get episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, all the way through to episode 24.
Fabulous.
Right? Doing almost like rebroadcast of that hour. So I'm thinking, Laura, maybe I'll hit the gong at the top of each hour to mark what it's going to be. And then since Rita has said she'll take care of the boys with cookies, we'll do Shane's confetti cannon. And well, shoot, I think it's a great idea. Thank you, Laura, very much for that. 2 clocks, a count down and a count up. So there you go. Yeah, because we have an unlimited budget here at All Natural Being, so we'll make that work. All right, so Jenny says, it is okay. You can broadcast any sound. We are licensed. It's Facebook that will be, and I think she meant to say pain in the tuchus. I think is what she meant by PIA. But a pain in the tuchus. You'll make it work. So maybe what I'll do is we'll broadcast a song when we go off at the top of each hour, right? As soon as the song is done, we come back in to the next hour, the next episode, and then Facebook won't be all upset by us. I think maybe that's what we'll do.
I like it.
Very cool.
Anything we can do. Anything we can do to get around the system. I love this.
Oh, you know what? Fate's nemesis. Whatever I can do to rock the boat, that's me, right? All you had to do was return my email. Could have put an end to all this foolishness right in the beginning. Could have said, no, yeah, sure, Brian, come on over, shovel the sidewalk this winter. We'll teach you how to use a board, but no. It'd be too good to return my email. Okay, good enough. So the 81 to win is going to be later in December, as you know, Henry. So what I hope to do is not talk about it at length every single night, but use it as an example for people. What do they think? What do they have that's an absolutely crazy idea that they've never implemented that they could go, you know what? I really dig that. Rita asks a great question. She says, will that mess up the continuous broadcasting? Thank you, Rita. It will not, because what will happen is even though we rebroadcast on Facebook the top of each hour, we'll keep talking. And we're waiting, and she raises a very valid point. We're waiting from Guinness World Records to get the official, here's how you do it, here's what you can do. Like you and I spoke of, Henry, that every 4 hours you're allowed a 20-minute break.
Right.
So my goal is every 12 hours, I'll just take an hour break. So instead of doing it, I'll go for 12 hours, take an hour break, go run to run through the sprinkler system out front, or, wake myself up somehow. And then what we'll do is, in order to keep the continuous broadcasting going, Rita, we're going to follow, even though the 24-hour attempt in September is not going to be the Guinness World Record attempt, we're going to follow the exact rules. Right, Henry? Just so we can say, hey, you know what? Yep. We followed the rules the whole time. So we're going to make sure that it remains a continuous broadcast throughout. But as I was saying, Henry, I'm hoping that people look at this and go, well, great, I get it now. Brian's highest priority, top of the list, is getting the guy back. What was his name? Mike or Josh, whatever I'm not supposed to call him, right? Get this guy back for not returning his email, right? But my heart's highest priority, top of my list, right, could be, what could it be? And I know you're a huge fan of it, Henry, but for people to be their own biggest fan, to be their own best friend, to be a little narcissistic, a little selfish, a little hedonistic, every so often, even if it's 20 minutes, 1/72nd of your day. So I'm hoping this attempt, brother, makes other people go, yeah, he's insane. But here's what I would try if I were going to put my heart's highest priority top of my list. What do you think?
Well, absolutely. I mean, if you can't be pleased and pleased with what you're doing, how do you expect anybody else to be pleased with what you're doing? So,
sure.
You got to step it out. Step out there and put the spotlight on it, because no one else is going to do that for you. And you got a point to make, and to me, that's exactly what it takes to do it. Nobody's going to change. Nobody's going to fix anything if they're not out there risking it. So you got to risk things.
Ashley has a little tote bag. Back in the day, before it became popular to ban straws and ban tall Diet Cokes in Manhattan proper, back in the day, it was popular to say, oh, you should have a reusable shopping bag so you're not taking these plastic bags all the time. So we had this reusable shopping bag. And what's always drawn me to this bag is it's a little red and white thing, but it's a bag full of, like, bubble sayings, right? Like remember from the art cartoons when a bubble saying pops up. And on this bag, one of the sayings in the center is, do something every day that terrifies you.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Isn't it?
That is absolutely fabulous, because you're right. Do something that terrifies you, and when you've accomplished it, man, pat yourself on the back, reward yourself. Be pleased with what you've done. Wow, that's wonderful.
Think about it, right? Because it speaks to everything that you were talking about yesterday when people, they come up and said, oh, I have this trepidation, or I have this concern, or I have, what is this? What is going to happen? But if every day you go, all right, what am I absolutely sure that I'll get ridiculed for? That's the thing you do. Mm-hmm. Right, within reason. I'm not saying go rob a bank. I'm not saying, right, or anything like that. I'm just saying within reason, within the law, what could you do every day? If you were to do something that terrified you, what would it do? Like now, for example, and you can help me with this, Henry. Rita says, great, just don't want anything to mess this up. Thank you, Rita, so very much. and I went to like it, put a little heart on it, and it over on the feed, it says hearts 0. Everyone else gives a heart. They get credit as being a 1. Brian gives a heart. It says 0 in the feed. Just Irish luck. Don't believe the hype, right? But if it, other than me, right, I go to give a heart and it says 0. If only you knew. Shane says, when was the last time you did something for the first time? Absolutely. See if I can, you see?
Yep.
I go to give Shane's thing a love and it pops right up. Somebody else look in the thread and tell me if you see a 0 next to the little heart that I gave Rita's comment about great, just don't want anything to mess this up. Ugh, Irish luck. What are you going to do?
Interesting.
Right, I know, right? So Shane asks, when was the last time you did something for the first time? Very good. I love the little iteration there. When was it, Henry, right? That's what we're challenging people to do. When was the last time that you did something for the first time? And why do you think it is?
Right.
What do you think it is, Henry, that keeps people from trying something brand new? What do you figure that is? Bart probably knows
A
it.
large part of it is the same reason why people are afraid to do a lot of things. It's fear. I mean, they just simply are afraid of failure. They're afraid of being ridiculed. They're afraid of, all of the things that we were chastised as a child for.
Sure.
I mean, when you really look at it, every time, you reach your hand in a cookie jar, whack, you get slapped for it.
Right.
Or you go out and you play in the mud puddle and you get penalized for it. So it gets kind of beat out of us. And the same thing with, talking to our invisible friends. We don't want to, parents don't want to be embarrassed, so you force the child to stop talking to the invisible friends. It's all of these turn-off switches that have been placed on us and got turned off. And
Sure.
we just don't know how to turn them back on, or we're afraid to turn them back on because of the echoes of the past. But the past is the past. It's not there anymore, and there's nothing we can do to change that. And so it's, strip off these dial-down buttons,
Sure.
and let's get on with the program.
Kick
Let's
in
have
the
some
door.
fun.
Yeah, let's crank it up. Speaking of crank it up,
Barth.
Barth is here. Barth, thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. Jenny says she sees a 2. I'll take a screen capture of this later where my heart gets a 0, and I'll put it up for everyone to see. You'll love it. Jenny says some are afraid of success. I would agree with that. Shane says a lack of confidence, worried about what others will think or say. And then Rita says, yes, Jenny, what happens if you are successful? I posted a little earlier, Henry, that I can never be confident in winning. I can just be absolutely confident in that I refuse to lose. Because I think this whole thing about success and this whole thing of a goal, setting goals, the whole thing about a carrot at the end of the stick is that you get to the point where you're just like, hey, here's what I want to achieve. And I'm not certain what it is, right? As I said earlier, I'm not confident that I'll be successful. I'm just absolutely confident that I will not lose. So for me, it's a little bit of Shane's way of saying, when was the last time you did something for the first time? It's just my little play on words that says, yeah, I don't know about what it's going to take to win, but I can tell you what it's going to take to not lose. So again, I would ask folks, what is it? If you could put your heart's highest priority top of your list, what would it be? If you could do something today that scared you, as Shane said, if you could do something to make today the day you do something for the first time, what would it be? Jenny says, it's the attention that some fear, or even in success, they pull apart themselves to find any error. That's interesting, right? Maybe, Henry, you can comment on that. Jenny says we pull ourselves apart to find some kind of error. Maybe we learned that from childhood, too. Maybe we were, just ridiculed, or we were teased, right, to such a degree that we've just learned how to tease ourselves because it's been something that's been with us for so long. What do you think?
Absolutely right.
Okay.
Absolutely right. I mean, think about the running a race. I mean,
Sure.
You start off and you fairly well know where you're going to end up in the stack of people. And to me, the objective is, God, complete the race. I mean,
Sure.
there's the win right there. You completed the race. I don't mean you have to get awards and trophies for every place, because there is somebody who's going to actually win the race. But the fact that you actually win it, that you actually entered it, completed it, and finished it. I mean, my dad used to have a saying, Henry, no matter what you do in life, shoot for the top rung of the ladder. Because
Sure.
if you fall anywhere on the ladder, at least you're on the ladder. If you shoot
Sure.
for the bottom of the ladder, well,
Right.
there's nowhere to go.
Or
So,
everyone
and I
tramples
grew
over
up
you,
with that.
right? If you're at the bottom of the ladder, everyone else is trying to reach the top, then you get trampled. I'm with you.
Exactly.
I think that was great advice.
And now, it was, for that time in my life, that was a perfect way to go. But I look at it now, and I say, well, wait a minute. It's you got to do what you enjoy doing, and you got to be happy with what it is that you do.
Sure.
Otherwise, why do it? I mean, that's part of it.
Right.
And so we really have a lot of things. I mean, success to one person isn't really success to another. And that's what we have to do. I mean, we can't set a dollar value because, that's really a crazy way to try to measure success. But if you're happy,
Mm-hmm.
then I don't care where you came in, and I don't care what you did. If you're happy, that's successful. If you're enjoying your life, you're having fun with it, yes, and I think you're a success.
I think if you get out of bed every morning and you just are thankful for the fact that you're given another shot in the labyrinth, I would add to that makes you a success, because you look at the people and, they say death comes in threes. You've heard that before, Henry, but just look at in the last 2 weeks of all the different news that talks about people committing suicide. Shane says the key is your success. And he capitalizes your, not the idea of what your parents think your success is, or what your friends or your colleagues or others think success is. So I like Shane's take. How do you spell success? The opposite of spelling success is taking your own life, right? You look at all the people in the last couple of weeks that, names of people that have committed suicide that we maybe know because they were they were actors or politicians or sporting, celebrity of some type. But then the countless people that we see throughout the months that take their own lives, maybe it's because they never learned how to spell success personally, just to themselves.
Well, and not finding happiness,
Sure.
not realizing that they actually are happy. When you cover yourself with so much unhappiness, you can't realize that you are happy. And so it's sad. And in fact, that to me, the suicide rates should be an alarming figure for people that are trying to keep people united. Okay,
Sure.
if you're trying to separate everybody, then it doesn't really matter because you're trying to separate them anyway. But if the objective is to unify, then I think the concern about people feeling that despondent or that lost or that depressed or that unhappy, that having one more moment in this place is unthinkable. Oof.
Yeah.
That's tough. I mean, I know. I've been in those positions. I've been in that position where it was just about as dark as you could possibly get it.
Sure.
But there's always was that glimmer. There was always that possibility, that always chance that that happiness was going to step out, and it does, and it did, and so it didn't happen. But to be that close to realizing, to even entertain the thought of, wow, do I really want to spend another moment here? Wow, that's heavy. That's really, really heavy. And it's sad that is the step that people take. They say the people they've interviewed people that have jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, and that have survived. And the first question, when did you realize you were making a mistake, or that this was the wrong thing? The moment my weight shifted me to where I had no choice, that's when I knew I made my mistake. And wow, a lot of us can't make that. We can't roll that clock back that fraction of a second. Just can't do it.
Let me say hello quickly to Candace. Candace, thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. And to Lee. Lee, thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. Rita says, do these people realize that suicide is permanent? Great question, Rita. And what it has always led me to, because this is something I've been studying for over 30 years now, what it leads me to, Henry, is a discussion of philosophical suicide.
Oh.
Right? Which I've found to be the precursor, right? Because people that take their lives, and then you think, well, how about philosophical suicide? How about those mornings where we wake up and we go, just not worth it anymore? Just going to be time to pack it in. How about this guy I heard in the news yesterday that stole the plane from SeaTac Airport? It was a flight line. I think he was like a luggage jockey, and he stole a plane and flew it into the island. And there's some question now as to whether he just plain ran out of gas or whether it was a suicide attempt. So there's biological suicide. But what I focus on every day now is the philosophical aspect of it, right? Where you just go, life's not all that important. It's not that big a deal. So I'll just let people chop block me. I'll let fate tackle me. I'll let all these other things that are supposed to go down in life to make me happy. I'm just going to go ahead and surrender. So the philosophical suicide, which is something we can do, right, Henry? When you talk about the people interviewed, and as soon as their weight shifted and they jumped off the bridge, it was like, this was a mistake. Gravity's going to win this, right? But philosophical suicide, we can amend that at any moment. And I think what gets a bad rap is people say you can't be selfish, you can't be narcissistic, you can't be hedonistic, you can't be, right? It's all about the team, all about the village. It takes a village to raise a child. You have to be altruistic. Fine. Be as altruistic as you want in certain parts of your day. But as I say all the time, for 1/72nd of your day, it's okay to be a little selfish. It's okay to be narcissistic. It's okay to want your heart's highest priority, top of the list. Because right after you give yourself permission, other people around you go, well, that didn't seem so tough.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. In the airlines, who do they say to put the mask on first? You.
Right.
You won't be around to help anybody else.
Right.
And so the whole objective is you want to be altruistic. Yes, but to be altruistic, you have to be here. So you take care of yourself, and then you can do all the altruistic things you want to do. It seems so condescending when somebody does say that, where, well, how can you think of putting yourself first? Well, you're not going to.
Right.
And if I'm going to be here to help somebody else, I have to be here. So why shouldn't I put myself first in this moment, in this time, and then I'm here to help the next one go on. So it is. But yes, you're right. We in this land of whatever they are,
right?
It is. It's so frustrating to see it. And when you really look at what is it that we're trying to do, we're trying to be as altruistic as we possibly can,
right?
And help as many people as we can. Even if it is to beat them over the head with a 2x4 to get their attention, or steel chair. But that's what we're trying to do. That's all we want to try to do, is give people a reason to have hope and to eliminate their fears and to eliminate the guilt from yesterday and not stress and worry about tomorrow. Enjoy your life now. Just enjoy it, and that's all we're trying to do. Do we do it with a focus on ourselves? Of course, we have to.
Sure. Well, Henry, I was driving the other day, and the kids were watching a movie in the car. Owen Wilson, the actor, is the voice of this car. I think the movie's called Cars. I think the movie's actually called Cars, now that I think about it. Well, what kind of drew me to it is in one scene, they're asking him to come into the pit stops. He's either out of gas or he needs tires or this or that or something else. And, there's the drama's built into this cartoon movie about can he make it back to the pit stop and then back out onto the track ahead of the green flag, because if not, he's going to be lapped. And what it made me think of is when we talk about, 1/72nd of your day, all natural being, one sliver of your day, it's like pulling in for that pit stop. He wouldn't have won the race if he ran out of gas. He wouldn't have won the race. Yes, Shane says it's Cars. Thank you, Shane. I don't want to ruin it for anyone in case you haven't seen it yet, so I won't say whether he wins the race or not in any of the episodes. But if he hadn't come in to change the tires, if he hadn't come in for gas, he never would have been in the chance to take the victory lap or that final lap. So when we talk about being selfish, when we talk about being narcissistic, you see these emails all the time now. Oh, the top 10 traits of a psychopath. Well, damn, it doesn't hurt you to every so often be a little focused on your heart's highest priority. And putting that in the top of your list, because you got to pull into the pit stop or you're not going to have the gas. You're not going to have the rubbers to finish the race. You're not going to have the tires, the rubber left on the road to finish the race. And I think maybe to Jenny's point, people are worried, well, I don't want someone to call me selfish. I don't want someone to call me a narcissist. I don't want someone to call me, and then it goes into this whole thing again where, you let people treat you like a pincushion.
Mm-hmm. Exactly right.
And the thought is he
right.
couldn't have done it had he not pulled into the pit stop. So again, I would ask.
And he,
go ahead.
Yeah, and again, when you see the movie, which I love the movie, if it wasn't for the team behind him sitting there waiting for him to pull in, rooting him to pull in, they wouldn't have had a chance either. So make the decision, that selfish decision to say, yep, okay, I'm going to pull in.
Right.
Boom, and then everything falls into place for you. So, yeah, it is a decision that we have to make, and we have to not be selfish, not to feel selfish, because we're not selfish. We're self-improving, self-observing, self-witnessing our self-change, and there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe it ties in with selfishness, but it's not selfishness because it is it's all for the altruistic good, and that's what I can't quite figure out why people do that.
Shane says you can call me anything but late for dinner. I absolutely see that. Okay, and I just want you to know. I'm going to take a screen capture. I sent a like to Shane. It came up. It's a like. Every time I go to send a like to Rita in this thread, it comes up 0. No one's going to believe me. I'm taking a screen capture right now. Just so no one will be, no, I don't know how I'll. All right, there's at least a screen capture. Now, I don't know how I can share this to my Facebook feed. But so in other words, Henry, what do we have to do while I stand here and try to act like I'm not busy on my phone when I should be talking to you? Share. So what do we have to do to give ourselves permission to take that pit stop, do you think? Right? Give yourself permission. But for a lot of people, that's tough to do.
I know it is. It is. And like Jenny was saying, the fears of what other people think. The way I look at it is I love the scales of justice or injustice, the way you want to look at it. The objective is to keep things in balance. So you don't want to do this, which is selfish, which is going to lower, say, the left scale down. But if you worry about what somebody's going to say about it, you start to weigh the right one down. So you decide you want to try to do something, and you're afraid for that, so you put another thing on that side, on that right side, and it keeps going up. And all of a sudden, the left scale is so high up that I don't care how much self-reward you want to give yourself or self-acclaim, you're never going to balance that scale out because you put so much concern of what everybody else thinks about you and what they're going to say on the other side of the scale. So you scrape the scale clean. It doesn't matter what mom and dad says. It doesn't really matter what your siblings, your friends, all these people that are trying to make you feel bad.
Sure.
Probably because they are suffering from the same thing. And that's really what happens is I find that the people that criticize those are the ones that have more problems than the ones that they're criticizing. They don't want you to be a success. They don't want you to be happy because they're not happy.
Because they're not happy.
They want you to have.
Right. And they love the misery of being miserable. They love the misery of their own company. And they go, well, we can't have you being a success because then how is it that I'm victimized? If I could have pulled myself up by my bootstraps, if I could have done all these other things, well, I could have put my heart's highest priority top of the list. You made it look simple. But if you do it, then I'm going to look bad because it just means I was a lazy slug. And just for the record, over on the Brian Brawdy, my personal page, I went ahead and posted the screenshot of every time I try to send something to Rita, I get 0 hearts. It says 0 heart. So not that you want to leave now, but at some point, if you want to duck over to Brian Brawdy, the personal page, you'll see the screenshot because I haven't mastered the acumen of putting it up right here in the thread. But Candace says, misery loves company. She says, no, thank you. Absolutely. And I would wonder, maybe at times our own misery loves company. We just get down on ourselves, and it just seems like an easier, right? Because when I talk all the time about being fate's nemesis, sometimes I'm my own worst enemy, right? Yep. I'm the one I got to watch for. All right, Henry, we're going to take a quick call. Let's see who this is. Hold on one second, brother. We'll be right back. Good evening. Thank you for calling All Natural Being. Who's this?
Hi, this is Shane.
Hey, Shane, how are you?
Hey, hanging in there.
Good. Hey, I wanted everyone to see that I was telling the truth about those 0 hearts for Rita. I don't know what it's all about. She's the only one, right? Everyone else gets a heart when I give it. So it's over on my Brian Brawdy, whatever the friend.
The
Facebook
last one that you did actually showed up, but I was having problems putting little hearts and stuff on her thing too, so I don't think it was just you.
Oh, okay.
If that makes you feel any better.
You know what? It makes me think Rita's got like a great energy around her, right? If both of us are doing it, and like Rita goes, I don't need hearts. I'm good. I got this. I got this life wrapped. Candace says hello, Henry.
You got to deliver the hearts in person, guys.
That could be it. Yeah, she goes, don't try to do that. Don't try to do that little emoji thing over here. Well, just no way that's going to happen. That's probably it. Shane, how are you, brother? Keeping centered, I trust, as always.
I try every day.
Good.
It's not an automatic thing,
right?
But it does come with time. But I wanted to chime in. Henry was talking about, and well, both of you were talking about, what does it take to be altruistic and that, and I got to thinking about it, and the lessons that I was brought up on by my mother and by church. Love thy neighbor. Always make sure you're looking out for everybody else, and if you were brought up with that kind of teaching and that kind of mentality, then even in yourself, saying, okay, I need to put myself first, seems counterintuitive. You grow up as a kid, be nice to your brother, be nice to so-and-so, or share, and all that stuff. You're brought up on those life lessons, and then someone tells you need to look out for yourself. And if you're not in tune to what that really means, it could seem counterintuitive and cause a real dichotomy internal. How can I do that? I've been taught my entire life to, love thy neighbor and share and do this for everybody else. How am I supposed to do this for myself?
Well, you know what, Shane? As soon as you said that, I don't want to put you on the spot, so it's kind of a rhetorical question. But if it jumps right to mind, chime in. What was late President Kennedy's most notable public line?
Yeah, ask not what you can do.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Yeah, God love you, brother. You're younger. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. So not only are you getting it in church, but then you get the president at the time going, hey, what is it about you wanting to be selfish or hedonistic or narcissistic or any of these other things? Don't be asking what your government can do for you. Ask what you can do for your government, what you can do for your country. And you and I, everyone in the thread, we're not talking about saying, oh, no, you should never do that. We're saying 1/72 of your day, 1 20-minute chunk, right? That's why I call them 20-minute victories. 1 20-minute chunk of your day. What would happen if you exercised your infinity? If you exercise your potential? If you put your heart's highest priority top of the list? If you let your primal scream out front and center in your life, you have 71 other 20-minute chunks to be altruistic, it takes a village to raise a child, all this other drool. Right? You have all these other opportunities throughout the day. And all we're talking about here is for one chunk. Be your own best friend. Be your own biggest fan. Look in the mirror and go, you know what? And it happens all the time, Shane, I got to tell you, because I have a built-in snorkel now. I'm basically a cyborg after the last surgery, truth be told, right? So when I look in the mirror, if you believe me, every day I go, you have got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me, right?
Remember I put out a 20 things you need to do to be happy.
Right.
Number one on the list: stop hanging around negative people.
Sure.
It's contagious.
Yeah.
And when you take your 20 minutes, you really don't even have to be you don't have to go out of your way. I mean, most of us that still work, just take your lunch break and just walk away from whatever is going on in the office.
Sure.
Take a walk around the parking lot or something.
Put your lungs through its paces, right? Put your lungs.
Else.
Yeah. Take a deep breath. Use your lungs the way they were intended. Take your shoes off. Walk in the grass. Do those things. Be a little selfish. But I think everyone's so worried today about being called racist. Everyone's so worried about being called a narcissist. Everyone's so worried about being called selfish. All these other labels that people want to pin on you in an attempt to subjugate you. All I'm simply saying is for 1/72nd of your day, what if you became your own biggest fan and put your heart's highest priority top of the list? What would your life look like at the end of the day? That's the question.
Yep, absolutely right. And if you wanted to stay away from the selfishness side, why don't you just be a little bit more proactive?
Okay. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Ultimately, I think a personal proactivity, there has to be a little selfishness. But I'm all with you, Henry. If people don't like the word selfish, they're welcome to call me selfish. If people don't like the word selfish, then just say I'm a little personally proactive.
That's it.
You know what I mean? It's 7 syllables. I like getting away with 2, which is why I say selfish. But if you want to say I'm personally proactive, I love that idea. I think it's great. But here's the thing. It's almost like you said, don't hang out with negative people. It's the exact inverse, that when you spread that little bit of your heart's highest priority, top of the list, it becomes contagious. Just like misery loves company,
like a smile.
Gratitude loves company. Yes, Henry, just like a smile. You walk into a room full of people, they're all smiling. You don't have any clue. You're a lug nut. You don't have any clue why everyone else is smiling, but you walk in the room and you start to smile. Ever happen to you? Happens to me all the time.
All the time.
So that not only does misery love company, gratitude loves company. And maybe that's the key, just to find those things in life that you're thankful for. And then you go, yeah, life is a treat. Dallas says, if you can't treat yourself, how can you treat others? Absolutely agree, Dallas. She says, Candace says, I have found things I am passionate about. I used to live very romantic about, I had stuff to do and don't have the time. But now she says, right? So that's the way she used to be. Now she's up and about, moving around, can't wait. That's the way to lead life. Is it you can't wait? And then again, if you, like I said earlier in the post, if you go, okay, I don't know what it's going to take to be a success, but I know what it's going to take not to be a failure. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds for us? Who knows, right? The ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights, the pivots, the swerves, everything here in the labyrinth of life. Who knows how it's going to go? But what you can count on is yourself to never give in, to never accept failure, and to keep trying. I said today to some friends on the phone, I'm heading to the grave. I've just decided to take the long way around.
And that's it. I mean, this is a one-time shot. I mean, we get to do this one time. Why do we want to be miserable? I have not figured that out yet. I mean, this is it, guys. I mean, we get to go. And I don't know a single person that's actually left this place alive.
Right.
So why do we want to be miserable while we're here? I mean, except that we have this incessant belief that we're going to go on forever. Well, we don't.
Right.
There's your 2x4.
Now there's the folding metal chair. Candace says, I realize that stuff is not going anywhere. It can wait. Thank you, Candace, very much. Rita, but you have to give it a go or you will never get anywhere. I absolutely agree. I look at it this way, Rita. It's like you go on a cruise. And you get an estate cabin, right? One of the top rooms, beautiful view, close to the all-you-can-eat chocolate strawberry fountain, right? We're just a cruise to end all cruises. And then when you get on the cruise, you decide to lock yourself in the bathroom, draw all the curtains to your suite, and you don't leave the bathroom for 2 weeks. You spend the entire cruise to Canada, to the Bahamas, wherever it was you were going. You spend the entire cruise locked up in the bathroom. And you'd go, Brian, that's nuts. No one would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, but yet you'd be given this life and spend your time locked up in the prison of other people's opinions.
Yep.
But that doesn't seem nuts to you? Right? You go on a cruise and you don't take advantage of the all-you-can-eat margarita bar? It doesn't make sense to me. Right?
What happened to the gusto? What happened to living life? Exactly. It does. It is unbelievable that we do that, and we pigeonhole ourselves and sucker ourselves into this disbelief that we are protecting ourselves. Wow, how scary! That's just sad. We get this one go around, and to, like you said, to spend it in the bathroom, or to spend it in the cabin room, or to spend it hidden inside a prison of your own making.
Right.
Oof, no.
Candace says to let everyone know I have some new Redbird pics. Great, Candace. We can't wait to see them. Thank you very much. Hi, Joe. Thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. All right, guys, we're going to get ready to wrap it up because we've been going the full hour. And really, it's just like training, right? It's like housebreaking a dog. I'm trying to learn okay, we're coming up on the top of the hour. This will be one episode, right? This will be one of 24. So let me thank you. Joe says, hi, guys. Love you. Thank you so much, Joe, for joining us.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. I have a sense that Joe probably tuned in to say hello to Henry and Shane. So let me, Henry and Shane, say thank you very much for calling in and helping me through the hour. And I wish you all the best, and I look forward to catching up with you tomorrow. So before we go, any last-minute thoughts? Henry, you go first.
Everybody, please, enjoy your lives. That's what they're here for. It's here for enjoyment, not to be sacrificing and self bludgeoning ourselves. That's not necessary. Enjoy, happy, have a great time, and love it. It's really what's important. And everybody that has writes in and has tuned in, and for the shares of the program, thank you so very much for that. You have no idea how much that means. Thank you.
That's why I started giving everyone hearts, Henry. You know what I mean? I've started giving everyone hearts because it really, I super do appreciate everyone in helping me with this. My favorite word, helping me with this mashugana of getting ready for 81 to win. So I absolutely, I thank you as well. Kathy, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on All Natural Being. Shane, any parting thoughts?
Well, not anything new that hasn't been said already, but I can say from personal experience, one of my biggest dreams was to open a martial arts school. And I was literally inches away from doing so, and it completely fell through. But overall, long story short, I'm still standing.
Sure.
I'm still upright. I took a shot. You can't be afraid to try it.
Sure.
It's not going to kill you.
And it's not going to make you stop, is it?
Go for it.
You go for it. You'll keep moving forward, I have no doubt.
Absolutely.
Very cool. All right, Shane, thank you as always. I appreciate your time, appreciate your insight. Please, if you get a chance to go up and punch Henry in the shoulder for me, please do so. Give Rita a hug, although I can't give her a heart here on this damn feed. It keeps coming up zeros, but please tell him I said howdy. And thank you so very much for calling and hanging out with us. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
Good night now. All right, everyone. Thank you again so very much for joining us here at All Natural Being. As we said, I'm trying to keep to my word, keeping the show to an hour. Thank you to everyone here in the post. Thank you for everyone that called in. And also, please keep the suggestions coming. If you'd like to be one of the guests that we have in our 24-hour marathon, please just drop me a line. Let me know. We'll get you, we'll book out like 10 a.m. on Sunday to 10 a.m. on Monday, and we'll start booking up time slots. So the lines will be open when you call, and that'd be probably a good way of legislating it as well. And I've got some pretty cool gifts. Some swag is the term we used to use in the outdoor industry. Some swag for all the people that call in to hang out with me and help me through this 24 hours and prepare later in December for the 81 to win. All right, I'll leave you with this thought. Do something tomorrow that scares you a little. Do something tomorrow that petrifies you a little. Do something tomorrow, again, and I'm not saying go out and hurt anyone. We're not talking about that. We're talking about in terms of putting your heart's highest priority top of the list. The hell with what all your critics are going to say, with the static quo. I call it critic spew. Why be a pincushion? Why let them play you like a sock puppet? We started this show by saying, why let them hijack the cockpit that is your cognition? All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you again so very much for joining us. Don't forget, I'm Fate's Nemesis. You're Fate's Nemesis. You've been in to All Natural Being. Thank you so very much. Have a great evening, and I hope to be back with you tomorrow night.
IPMNation.com.